Broadcasting from Hollywood, California, it's Grant's Rants, Hollywood Talk.
Nene leaks, warns Garcelle about housewives, and for whatever reason, wants Kim Zolciak back on Atlanta. Renee Denozzo joins us for some Bravo news, and then William Palacios talks about the concept of lucid dreaming. Fascinating. That and more as always, right now. Let the ranting begin. I am joined by you. Thank you for listening. I know you have more choices than ever in content, and you're choosing to spend your time with me. Thank you. I've got two guests in this episode over two different segments. This is an interesting one. As you can tell by the title of this episode, we are covering a wide variety of topics, to say the very least. Out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, a listener, a long time, an OG listener of the Rants is calling in. I love her for it. Renee Denozzo. She's calling in. We're going to talk about actually something that's pretty important. And we're talking about it in a fun way. This is a late show, but we talk about the National Donate Life Month, which is April for organ donation. It's really important. There are so many people, adults and children, on lists waiting for organs. And you've got someone like Renee who's out there making a difference. And I love her for it. Don't worry, I do bitch about Nene leaks and shade Beverly Hills, which no, I didn't watch. I just can't. I don't know what to do about Beverly Hills. Maybe you can help me. I just don't know what else to say about it, and I'm not really that interested. And then later, William Palacios is calling in from New York. Now, this guy is very smart. I really like talking with him. We're talking about lucid dreaming, what it is, how to engage with it. I hope you'll give it a shot and you'll listen to the end, because this is a very high-thinking conversation, and I'm into it a lot. I recorded with William about 2 weeks ago, and since then I have been experiencing lucid dreaming. And it's not scary, but it does feel like you're a dream within a dream, type situation. And I just love hearing from him. He's very smart. So with that, I hope that you guys find this episode as interesting as I did. Again, I'm really proud of this one. A grab bag of information, as there always is on the Rants. Thank you guys for listening. I've received so many messages, more than ever, from people just thanking me for the content, just to get them through a work day or getting over a cold, just breaking up these very long, rudderless days, if I will say. And I am so grateful to hear from you. Thank you for enjoying this show. And please tell other people about it, because maybe they need it too. Let's get on with the show. The ranting continues. I am joined by Renee Denozzo. Welcome to the podcast.
Hello.
Hi. Thank you for calling in. I just said you're a listener. You responded to my call. I put out a video about a month ago. If people wanted to, fill their time and come on the Rants, and you emailed me.
Absolutely.
I love that. Thank you. I love
Sure.
meeting the listeners that I don't normally podcast with. It's really nice.
Well, Grant, I've been listening to you since you were on a team reviewing some different Housewives shows. And then when you got your new show, well, it was new then, I was so psyched, since I've been listening to you for a while.
Oh my God. Well, thank you. You've definitely seen and heard a lot, I'm sure,
Yes.
over the years. And thank you for sticking with me. Like, that means a lot to me. Through all the episodes, the live show, Granny, the different guests I've had on. I'm glad that you enjoy it. Thank you. I'm just thinking of all the stuff you've heard, because it's almost 5 years on this show.
Hey, what's a few things between friends, right?
Right. So thank you, number one.
Sure.
First of all, we're going to talk some Bravo stuff, as I mentioned earlier in the podcast, but we'll start with Beverly Hills. Now, I have not watched Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. I just don't know what to do with the show. As you know, I hate the women. I hate all of the women on the show. I think the show is so poorly produced. I just don't want to have the time for it. However, I have not looked at it, but what am I going to do? It's a total chore. I have no interest in it. But even my mom was like, it's kind of what you do. Like, how are you not going to look at it? And I was like, I really don't want to. What do I do, Renee? What do I do?
Look, sometimes when we're at work, we have to do the stuff we don't want to do, and we put it off. So maybe just wait until there's a few episodes in the queue, and watch it while you're playing Words with Friends on your phone or something.
Yeah, but it's great
Yeah.
background. I mean, I can't sit there like a captive audience, and I don't really want to give the streaming views to anybody either, because I just feel like it's not worth my time. But I mean, I am lucky enough to be a guest on several different podcasts, and of course, everybody wants to talk about the housewives, and so of course, this is for whatever reason a really popular one, which I'll never understand. So I need to kind of be in the know on it. But do I have to?
I mean, look, I can't, if you have some listeners who want to hear about it, but I feel like a lot of us probably aren't that interested. I know I'm not. I haven't watched it hardly ever. I've been watching Housewives for a really long time, and I barely watch it. I can't. It's got nothing.
It's got nothing. I agree.
Nothing.
I just don't want to come across as a hypocrite to my listeners after saying for a while that I will not watch, because I really don't want to, but I'm feeling pressure to watch it. It's not out of my own choice. And like for me, like I never talked about Kardashians on the show. Now 155 episodes. Because I just didn't have an interest. I didn't want to fake it. So I mean, the same rules should apply for Beverly Hills, but maybe I can talk about it casually like we're going to do now.
Okay.
Because a couple of things have stuck out to me. One positive in all this is this Garcelle character, the new housewife. She has appeared as Denise and Lisa Rinna's friend, and I was applauding this casting in the beginning. I have nothing against her. I haven't even watched, so I haven't even really given her a shot yet. So I'm into it. Have you seen the show, first of all?
I haven't. I've watched a little bit. I've actually listened to a few recaps of of that episode, and I've watched a few clips and read some articles. But I have done all that. But there's something about watching the actual episode, and she's beautiful, and she, I think, has a really good read on the women right away. I think she's got something. I think she's got something. So maybe she'll bring the drama.
Well, Nene from Atlanta Housewives gave her some advice. She said, the always pleasant and positive Nene Leakes. She said, they're going to be lying and stabbing you in the back. Watch out. I don't know. Will they, though? I mean, someone like Lisa Rinna, I think, is pretty vile, and I know it's a very unpopular opinion, but she'll turn on anybody for camera time. We've seen it so many times. Of course, Lisa Vanderpump is also equally as garbage, in my opinion.
Yes.
I'm glad you agree. I never know. I say it like I mean it, but I never know what I'm going to be received with.
Oh, no. Anybody who champions animals so much that she does and then sells so much like cheap meat at her restaurants, I don't know. That doesn't track with me.
People have said this. So, Nene, always with a very bad attitude, but maybe she's right. I think it is good to go into these shows like you can't trust anybody.
There's no way. Like that they trade on stabbing each other in the back, being two-faced, talking, let's say, I don't know if you can swear on here, but talking smack all day. Like they trade on that. That's their job. No one's going to watch them if they're skipping down the street, sending each other, flowers. Like no one's going to watch that. Right. Unfortunately, this is where we are. It's not Great British Baking Show, right?
Yeah. Cynthia on Atlanta Housewives has been on that show for 10 years, apparently. I had no idea.
Yes.
Hanging on. She said she told Garcelle, have fun. You're going to do great. They're going to love you. So talk about two mixed messaging.
I think we're going to love her. And I think she's going to do great, but I think people are going to stab her in the back.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But then again, why did she sign up if she can't? I think if you can handle it, then you're going to sign up for something like that.
Yeah. She claims that she went in with no perceived notions, which is,
kind
of probably what I would do in a way. I mean, I know who to look out for. I hate when these women are like, I never watched the show before. I don't know who any of them are. I'm like, are you kidding me?
No. There's no way. I never believed that.
No.
You're going to go to a job without learning a little bit about the company you're working for? Come on.
Apparently, in one of the scenes, and I watched the clip, don't tell anyone, but Denise, she did name drop bravo, effing bravo at the end of the premiere, which was, what are they doing with the storyline with Denise? Is this going to be where they're going to bring us right to the edge and then they're going to bring us all the way back and flash back to 4 months earlier when everybody's laughing?
I love when they do that, though. It gets me excited. Take it to the top of the roller coaster,
Yeah.
I love when they do that, but only if the story's any good. But I like this bravo thing because it's it makes me wonder what we're missing. How many times has this happened before? And they've actually cut What are we missing? And it made me immediately think that they do that when Dorit slips into her real speaking voice and loses her accent.
Oh.
And then she's like, oh no, bravo, bravo. And then they reset and then she's back to whatever she's speaking, And so I'm just kind of curious.
So much for it being a reality show. There's been rumors out there that Yolanda used to call cutting scenes if she said something she didn't like. Apparently in New Jersey, they hold up cards. Producers will say, like, Jennifer, ask Margaret this. In mid-scene. So much for it being real. I'm trying to slowly accept that I've been duped for all these years. It's hard because I feel like we've been duped by the world. I feel like just everything has just failed us in the last couple of months, and I hate to be doom and gloom. But I'm just, it's just like, if I can't trust, like, and then just not feel manipulated watching reality TV, I mean, come on, what is there? What is there left?
You just have to accept it for what it is, Grant, and just say, this is what I'm watching, and maybe, what is that, suspend disbelief?
Yeah.
And tune out for a while. That's all. I think right now, especially now, that's all we can really do. And that's what these ladies, so most of these other franchise ladies do. Beverly Hills, not so much. It's probably more depressing than what's going on.
Renee, I really like you. I think you're absolutely right.
You.
I'm not just saying that. No, because it's good advice. And like, sometimes I look at stuff like you're telling me, and that's similar advice that I would tell other people. But of course, you don't take your own advice. So,
no.
Yeah, no. So when someone's telling you, like, yeah, no, that's very logical. And I agree with you. So yeah, Kyle said on this, it was on Instagram Live, she said that they used to call that Bravo, Bravo, Hi, Andy, and all this stuff when they want to touch up their makeup, knowing that they would be filmed and knowing that editors would not use that footage, and they, God forbid, they break the fourth wall. And she said they don't want to acknowledge that they're on a show. Well, we're seeing that more and more. We've seen that with Potomac, with the cameraman. We see that often with Atlanta, and at the end, I guess I only saw screen grabs, but I know they pulled out at the end of this first episode of Beverly Hills, so we could see the backdrops and things like that.
I don't know why they're bothering doing that. They should. We all know it's a show. I
would lean into it. I think it's unique.
Contrived, exactly, and have a and not like so much include the camera people so much, but maybe look at it through a different way, because there's probably some more to mine there, instead of the women being able to control everything by using this, like, Bravo, cut it off, whatever. Because they can say Bravo, Bravo, but who's to say they have to cut it off?
Right. Yeah. That's still rolling. They have the footage.
Yeah.
Yeah. I bet Andy Cohen's head exploded when Kyle talked about, like, their antics about putting on makeup and stuff and halting production, because he has no chill. If anything, like, production slips out, he gets so uncomfortable. I mean, your viewers are not idiots, dude. We know that there's a camera crew. There's not like a bird flying by with a handy cam. Like, this is a whole production company that puts the show together. We get it.
Yeah. Like, just lean into it. But Andy, I think he needs to control a lot of things, and he's very not very easygoing for a deadhead. I don't get it, but like, he just needs to control and needs to be informed and on their phones, and so
yeah, I think they need to realize that, like, arguably the housewife audience could be considered, and I think my audience is educated and fairly smart, so we don't need to be fooled. We get it. Or, like you kind of mentioned earlier, just suspend your disbelief, buy into it. It's just entertainment. So, like, that's what Andy needs to view it as well. Like, let's not pretend that we're not filming a reality show here. Anyway, Nene, speaking of her, she has been rallying apparently to get Kim Zolciak to return to the Atlanta Housewives. Why?
I don't know. Kim Zolciak is I'm sorry, I hate to say this about another one, but she is the absolute worst. She's dumb. And this might be something I shouldn't say, but she's probably a racist, and I don't understand it. And I think it's because that's a storyline that's going to bring Nene more airtime, because I don't think she's getting what she wants because of Kenya and Portia and what they're going through, and their the little beautiful babies who I love and adore. And, we're getting a lot of Kenya, getting a lot of Portia, and I don't think she likes that. I think that Nene wants to be front and center. It's
absolutely about numbers. It's about getting more people on her side, because she couldn't turn the others. And so she wants to have Kim on, which is a very unpopular opinion. I mean, people were so done with her. I don't believe she's a racist. I just believe she's totally ignorant.
Okay.
I think
You're
she's
much more generous than I am.
again, I haven't seen all the bits and pieces. I watch Atlanta very casually, but I just think she's totally ignorant. They had an Instagram live, which I watched enough of, and that Nene, she is just, it's so transparent to me that she's just trying to get in with Kim. They're trying to get her on the show. So she'll have someone behind her side. And, they have a good relationship. But Kim's also a fool to keep going back, to keep accepting Nene as a friend. How many times are you going to allow someone to burn you publicly like that?
Yeah.
Nene has also been pushing a Phaedra return. Now, this I can get behind. I don't mind her. But I also feel like the show has moved on from her in a very different way where, like, I enjoyed the Phaedra years. That was, the stuff with Candy and all that was can't miss TV for me.
Yes.
I loved all that stuff just from a content perspective. I felt terrible for Candy, and I thought Phaedra was rotten, but it was good television. But I do feel like the show has really evolved beyond those days of Phaedra. Again, it's a numbers thing for Nene. This is someone else that she can resurrect, who can sit next to her on a trip. I don't know.
Yeah. It's just too much. I mean, they're never going to get rid of Nene. I think she is, a flagship.
Unfortunately.
Housewives. Yeah. But I mean, look, I'll take Phaedra over Eva any day because I don't understand what Eva's doing. I'd rather have if Marlo can't have a peach, maybe bring Phaedra back.
Let's switch over to Luann.
Yes.
She is quarantined with her daughter, Victoria. She told Watch What Happens Live that she's being sober through quarantine, but still drinking socially and responsible on the show, always covering her ass. What do you think?
I think it's good for her. I think that she's probably not drinking. And I think that's good for her. I think she looks great. And, if she wants to drink, she doesn't I think that she's legally allowed to, but I genuinely believe that she's not drinking because I don't think she doesn't need to, and B, I think she would say, I have a glass of wine or two, but she even said it. She was like, I have a glass and then I don't feel great the next day. And so I say good for her. I think she looks great. Despite all of her faults, I love Luann. Excuse me. I love her to the moon and back. She's one of my tops favorite. So.
I enjoy her. I think it's a good look for her. That way, when people do come down on her at the reunion or in the press, she can say, look, I was sober through the whole quarantine. If I had a problem, don't you think I'd be drinking? That's what she's So that was
a really good impression.
Thank you. She's setting herself up perfectly. So that way she can literally, like when summer, fall, whenever we can, God help us, whenever we can go actually buy a sit down and have a glass of wine on the beach, she can say, look, I don't have a problem because this gives her clearance for the rest of the year to go wild. So
smart.
I guess enjoy it. And I think her daughter is maybe acting as her sober companion, which is, good reinforcement.
Absolutely. And she looks great. And why mess with that? She looks beautiful. She seems happy. And as well, as far as you can tell, not knowing a person in real life, I think she's great and, and good for her. And I think finally one of the housewives admits that when they have had a drink or two, they feel terrible the next day, because I always find it amazing. They go on these drinking binges and then they come up the next day and they're like, what's going on? It's cool. When they're in their 50s or something, I don't know how they do it.
Yeah. Like Sonia.
Oh gosh, Sonia. Oh, what an angel that's Sonia.
Her poor body. Oh my God.
It's pickled. She's pickled.
So when you reached out to me, you wanted to talk about being a living organ. I'm using my Rhode Island accent. A living organ donor. And I understand. We talked briefly before the show that's in fact something that you've done.
Yes, it is. About 7, almost 8 months ago, in the end of August, I donated a kidney to a person who's now a good friend of mine. Before, I didn't really know him very well. And Grant, the reason that I reached out to you about it, besides take your call for some information about some topics from listeners, is I actually posted a photo of myself going into the operating room. And you wrote back on my picture and said, some really, really lovely things. And I actually saved up a bunch of episodes of your show because I knew that I would be kind of on the mend for a while. and binge listened to a bunch of them, and they really got me through my recovery. So I was like, I feel like you and I might have a little bit of a special connection in that manner. You're a part of my transplant story.
Wow. Well, thank you. All I did was just probably talk and scream about Lisa Vanderpump the whole time. But if that helps you, God bless you. Oh, that's so touching. I'm so glad to hear that. I have heard so much recently on another project I'm working on about being a living donor and just the need to spread the word and awareness. I feel like so many times it plays into a storyline on a TV show, but it really is a real life thing. And there are lists and including for pediatric transplants. It's Pediatric Transplant Week that's actually happening starting on the 19th to the 25th. I think it's really important. I'm glad that you reached out to me. You even told me this is National Donate Life Month, which I was like, well, then we have to have you on right now.
Absolutely. And you mentioned it being on television shows, and it's funny, they've never really, that I've seen, actually had a transplant or a kidney transplant story that actually depicted correctly, even in the medical shows, even in comedies or whatever, that's depicted correctly. And one thing that they don't really talk about is what they call altruistic kidney or organ donation. And that's when you sign up to be a living organ donor, kidney or liver, and you don't know who it's intended for. You just say, I want to help somebody who's in the most need. And then what happens then is they start what they call a chain, which can only be started through voluntary living organ donation. And that means that organ goes to one person, another organ goes to another person, and so far, and so on and so on, until the chain can go on for years, and dozens and dozens and dozens of people can get helped. Now, I'm not part of a chain. I was actually lucky enough to have a direct match with my recipient, but they really don't talk in television shows about altruistic organ donation, which is such a great way you can help somebody. But the most important thing that anybody can do if they're interested in being an organ donor is put it on their license or in their identification, register as an organ donor, and then let the person, their loved ones, know that that's what they want. That's a kind of a step that a lot of people don't do. They sign up on their driver's license and they say, I want to be an organ donor, and then they don't let anybody know. And then the worst possible thing happens, and their loved ones don't know that they have that status. So they should definitely let somebody know. But if anyone's interested in living organ donation, the process is it's very extensive, and they do a lot of very extensive testing, because the first rule in medicine is to do no harm. And it's something that you can really, really change somebody's life with. And I would do it 1,000,000 times over if I possibly could. It's the greatest thing I've ever done, and I feel so lucky to have been able to help my friend, who is one of the people that everyone needs to stay inside for, because he is a high risk group in this virus.
And you didn't know this gentleman.
I didn't know him when I signed up just to be a living organ donor, and I said, whoever needs it. I have a rare blood type, so it's so I was like, whoever needs it. And then I found out about him through a friend of mine, and he had actually received 2 transplants before, so he had 3 sets of antibodies, and I somehow, it was like 3 needles in a haystack, I matched every single one of them. So I feel like I'm not a big believer in like spirituality or anything, but I kind of feel like the stars kind of aligned.
Yeah, definitely.
And we are perfect. I call them my perfect match. We're like 2 pieces of a puzzle. So wow. Yeah, it's wild.
Well, that's incredibly selfless of you, and you've definitely earned some good place points for those who watch The Good Place.
Yes, I hope so. I need them.
Yeah, the good karma is coming your way. Oh my God! Well, God bless you.
Thank you.
That's so admirable, and I hope that people listening can just internalize that and think about it. Just meditate on that for a minute, because there are good people in the world. There are good things that are happening, and my God, thank God for people like you. We need more Renees. So thank you, Renee.
Thank you. And thank God for people like you, Grant, who's out there, bringing us entertainment and helping making us laugh and helping us forget what's going on for a little bit every couple days. Like, thank God for people like you, Grant.
Oh, thank you. I mean, it's just, this is kind of my skill set. It's like I could create a show and hopefully it breaks up people's day a little bit. And that's my why. That's my purpose behind the show. I do the show and the work that I do, but the other companies as well, is just because it's like, this is what I can really provide to people right now. So that's me, but you're doing things way bigger than a podcast. So.
Oh, I don't know. I didn't really do much. I kind of just laid there and then got a grilled cheese sandwich after.
Oh, I love it. Well, this was really a pleasure. Thank you for calling in. It was so nice to meet you and talk housewives with you. And we'll have to do it again.
I would love to. And thank you so much for giving me some time to talk about living organ donation.
My pleasure. Thank you.
You're listening to Grant's Rants. Subscribe and spread the word. There are a lot more rants to come. Listen anytime on all major podcasting platforms. And now, back to the show.
The ranting continues. I am joined by William Palacios, the founder of El Calendario, the network for Latin artists. Welcome to the Rants.
Hello, Grant. How are you?
Hi. We should discuss how we know one another, which is mainly through the Instagram.
Oh, yes. You follow my work, I follow your work, and we can speak through it in some spiritual level, because I think the universe has found a way to kind of keep us connected in what we do. So this is exciting. Thank you so much for having me. This is my debut in a podcast. So.
My pleasure. I'm so glad to introduce you to it. William responded to the video that I put out, just anyone who wanted to talk. And you came to me and you mentioned you want to discuss lucid dreams, which I knew very little about, if nothing at all. And I said, I'm totally willing to learn something new. Why the hell not? So I did look into it, so I would have a clue on what I was talking to. But I watched a TEDx talk and some great YouTube videos they have on this. If anyone wants to dig any deeper, they're like animated videos. But I want to hear it from you. You practice this. What exactly is lucid dreaming?
Lucid dreaming is when you're in a dream and you're able to understand within that dream that you're dreaming. I got curious about it. I can't really remember exactly the moment, but I found online some literature and I picked up this book that one of the first things that it recommended me was to start counting my fingers. And if you're a listener, this is one of the exercises that you can practice. So the trick to it is that you're training your brain during your wake life to do something. So you are training it to count your fingers. The thing about dreams is that reality doesn't hold the same way that reality does in this moment, right? So your fingers are not going to hold five. It's not, your hand is not going to be just 5 fingers. It could be 6, or it could be 10, or it could be, whatever your subconscious decides to summon up. So, so the cool thing about our reality is that you're able to maintain that, physicality to your body, and you count 5 fingers and you do it throughout the day. And what you're doing is that you're conditioning your brain to do that activity so that you will take it into a dream state, right? So if you are now in your dream state and you've been thinking about lucid dreaming, that's already putting another seed in your subconscious. It's going to happen. I'm ready for it. This is possible. And because sometimes when you tell them about lucid dreaming, they get into this like, oh, it's something, I don't know, a little bit witchy or spooky or like otherwhelming. But even if it sounds like that, it is still a very real possible experience that I hear. I hear this from you, Grant. You sent me this list of people that know about lucid dreaming that are in the public. Stephen King being one of them, Albert Einstein, Leonardo DiCaprio, who is in my favorite movie, which is Inception. Have you seen that?
Do you know I have not? I'm like the one person left that hasn't seen it.
Oh my God. Okay,
Yeah.
listen. Now that we're spending lots of time at home, see it, and you're going to want to see it maybe at least 3 times. If you're into this stuff, it really, satisfies some of that hunger.
So the idea for what I'm gathering is, you're in a dream and then you're able to ground yourself where you realize that you are in a dream, and then you're able to kind of participate in that reality.
Absolutely. Yes. Mm-hmm. So you can participate in it. So this is where the magical part of it comes, right? Once you've, like the tip I said of counting your fingers, or another one could be to throughout the day just look at a clock, and if you look at the clock, it's 12 o'clock, look away, come back to it, and then make sure it's 12 o'clock again, because again, in dreams time is not a thing, so it's going to be a wacky time. Or so once you've done those things and you are able to be in the dream and realize you're in the dream, come the next fun set of things, which is the first couple of times you might be a little scared to realize that you're in this dream and you are in your senses in it, right? So the first time that I did it, I, counted my fingers and I said, wait a minute, this moment is strange. I'm in my room, but I'm already in that bed and I'm already asleep. And I've already been through that. So I went to count my fingers, and from 5, they jumped to 6 and 10. And I got a little bit spooked in that moment, because all of a sudden I was like, I'm in a dream. This is a dream. I'm not being fooled by dream world. And I was able to discover it. But then it felt like somebody had put a box over my head and kind of like put a very small hole, and one end of it, it kind of like shook my head as I saw the light through this little hole. That's how it felt to come back to wake life, right? But so once you're able to go past the getting a bit nervous about it, and here's one tip that I don't have the source for this, but it was a great tip that I learned from one of the literature that I read, was if you feel like you're waking up, spin around in the dream. And for those people that are listening that are scientists, I don't know what the science is behind it, but there's something about just spinning yourself in circles within the dream that kind of like I don't know if it suits you down or it calms you down, but it definitely keeps you within the dream, right?
Interesting.
So once you're able to remain, which is already a feat, and listen, this is not going to take you a week. This will probably take you months, if not years, that I've been doing this for their lifetime. But if you're able to stay in, really, you have a canvas of reality to play with. For me, it has always been flying. If you've ever wanted to fly, this is your place to do it and to have all of your senses truly feel like you're flying. Another person in that list that you sent me was Nikola Tesla, which, as you know, is a great inventor of many, many things that were so advanced past this moment that they were suppressed. So it really is, it is a blank canvas where you can go ahead and use all of your creative potential to do and to discover.
I've always found dreaming just fascinating, just because it sets a lot of tones and moods for me specifically that echo throughout the day. And even, I don't know if you experienced this, but like when you lay down after a long day, my brain goes to the same place that it was when I woke up, with the same emotions that I had from the dream I had 12 hours prior. Is that something you've experienced?
Oh, wow.
Not always, but that often.
Right. That means that, and listen, this is something that I should have disclosed at the beginning of my introduction, but I'm definitely not an expert in the subject. I'm someone that has learned through doing, right? So anything that I might say to you, it is truly out of my informed speculation.
Yeah, and your own experience. Yeah, I totally get that.
Yeah, exactly. From what you're telling me, I think you are very connected to your dreams. Perhaps you are not doing it, bringing your conscious to your subconscious, but there's definitely this dialogue that is happening, right? Is what you're saying is like, if you woke up and had a dream about, would you want to share a dream? And then I'll kind of give it a crack.
Yeah, sure. I was giving this some thought before.
Interpretation?
Yes. Within the last couple of months, I have a very recurring setting. It's different circumstances in the setting, but the setting is always somewhere where I've been before. I have like stuff in a drawer. Maybe it's an office. Maybe it's like a locker. But I have some type of prior connection, but it's only a place that I've been to a handful of times, so I'm not quite familiar with it. And within that, all different experiences happen. But it's this one place, it almost feels like when I go like San Diego, which I've been to maybe 6 times, I know it enough, but I couldn't name you I couldn't give directions. But I just keep going back to this place quite consistently, and I feel like when I wake up, I have to like touch the wall in my room because I have to like ground myself that like, okay, I'm back to like reality, because it is so real. It's not a zany world. Right. It's a very real reality. It's strange.
Okay. So this is interesting because dreamers like me, I don't experience a lot of the same places when I go back to dreams, right? So my canvas always seems to start new, right? But for some people that I know very closely, they know places that they return to more than one time, right?
Yeah.
So I think since you are able to return to this place, it means that it is cemented in your subconscious very well. Yet I understand how you say, like, I'm not able to tell you like exactly what it is or where it is or how it connects to what, because that is just the nature of dreams, right? They kind of like put you in a place and you accept blindly that you're there, and you're like, oh sure, I'm at the beach with my friend who I haven't seen in 5 years, and you which here comes tip number 3, asking yourself, where was I a moment ago? Where was I a moment ago? Oh, I was making a pot of coffee. Where was I a moment ago? Oh, I was on that meeting.
And so
if
you
say,
ask,
what was it a moment ago?
Is that something you ask yourself in everyday life or while you're dreaming?
This is one of those exercises that you could practice to discover if you're in a dream, right?
Okay.
Because if all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, I'm back at this place that I've visited for a few dreams. Where was I a moment ago? Oh, and you can't remember, then you might be able to be in this place where you have already been and discover that it is just a dream, right?
Because I'm dying to know. I'm telling myself, like, next time you feel like you're in a place like this, just start asking people. Because I want to know, where the hell am I? What is the significance of this? I don't feel like I have any ties to San Diego. I don't know if that has anything to even do with it, but I just wonder if maybe it's part of a greater theme of me wanting to be in a different place than I currently am, which would be very accurate.
I think it could be. It could be. So this what you're asking right now is it pertains to the question, what are dreams made out of, right? And dreams really are just a melting pot of everything in your consciousness, right? So some things are going to be about what you saw that day. Let's say someone very briefly in a meeting mentioned San Diego, right? Oh, my aunt in San Diego, and that's all you heard. And sometimes your consciousness is able to grab onto that and then play it in your dream, right? So your dream is kind of like a mixture of a lot of non-important things with some important things, you know what I mean? So it could be just some like very unimportant details about your day. You had a glass of water, you dream about the ocean, right?
Wow.
That are connected, but that in the midst of all of that could be desires that are held very deep within. So maybe you've thought about taking a vacation, moving to San Diego, and it's something that you hold very close to your heart, then it will find a way to jump into this pool of noise that is a dream.
Wow. That's a beautiful way to put it. I mean, I just keep going back to the fact that as human beings, we use such a small percentage of our brain. And so I can only imagine where that other percent is and if it's even accessed, and perhaps it's accessed in sleep. There's just so much to it that I don't know. But I think it's just fascinating.
You know, I've heard this quote about only using a percentage of your brain. And I think Hollywood, in that movie Lucy, have you ever seen that movie? Lucy with yeah, she definitely like only is able to use a percentage of her brain, and then in the movie she's able to reach full capacity and becomes this like ethereal superwoman.
Scarlett Johansson, yes, I've seen this.
Scarlett Johansson, yeah. Story to all the Scarlett Johansson fans.
I know.
I met her. You know, I met her at the store where I worked. She was very poised, very beautiful. And, you know, I met someone, I know you've spoken about the Real Wives of New York.
Real Housewives, yes.
Real Housewives of New York. I have a moment. I have a Real Housewives of New York moment. I was working at the store, and I was working, kind of like passing by the register. And your girl, Ramona, I don't know how we feel on this show about Ramona.
She's a very complicated individual.
Okay, so she was definitely being very complicated to the register person. I don't know. I can't give you like, you know, like details because I really just can't remember them. But she was definitely, you know, complaining to something at the register.
I'm not surprised.
And my manager was like, "Oh, yeah, that's Ramona from Real Housewives of New York." And I was like, "Ah, yes."
The nicest way to describe her is as high maintenance, to say the least.
Oh boy.
So yeah, none of this surprises me.
She needs some lucid dreaming in her life.
Yes.
One last thing I'd like to say is that, you know, for anyone, if you are interested in practicing lucid dreaming, the first thing you must do is really become very in tuned with meditation and just having some time during the day. It doesn't have to be a long time, but to really just meditate and be with your own thoughts. And that would really help, because if you are, you know, in the middle of a very busy lifestyle, which, you know, for a lot of people's career, that's what it demands. And it's, you know, you haven't had a moment to kind of quiet your brain. You need a bit of a quiet brain to be able to access all of that. And then once you're in it, you know, my sister used to tell me, like, you know, you can smell things in dreams. And I was like, never, you can never smell dreams. And I went into a dream and I picked up this leather bag and put my nose to it, and I could smell the leather. You know, I've held to the sun and could feel the rays of the sun caressing my skin. So this is like
That's
some
incredible.
really cool stuff that if you like to know more about it, I'd love to chat about it with you or anybody that's, you know, interested in chatting about it.
Oh, I'm fascinated by it. This is just so interesting to me, for real. I mean, I have been a huge advocate for meditation and all the benefits that come with it. I had no idea the two were connected, but the way you put it, it makes total sense. So if anything,
Absolutely.
It motivates me to do even more meditation just to see where I could go with this. Because I've always felt very connected to dreams. So this is very eye-opening and interesting. Thank you so much for all of the intel. I feel like it's a lot. I feel like we got a lot of free information. My God, you know a lot.
Oh, thank you. Once you crack the first dream and like experience that, you're going to be hooked.
Yeah. Oh, I knew this was going to be an interesting conversation, and it was. Oh, this is cool. Well, before I let you go, I want you to plug El Calendario. I want you to tell us more about that.
Oh, yes. Yeah. So besides dreaming, another thing that I do and here in New York City, where I live, particularly in Queens, is that I founded a network of Latino artists that work in New York City and now beyond. And we come together to promote our work, you know, work that sometimes doesn't get a space in maybe major publications, but I've created a space to put these things and to get people to build a community. We get together sometimes, we play games, We go to each other's shows. We try to support each other's work. So we're a community of artists and artist lovers. If you want to follow us, we're on Instagram. Is calendario.arte. And I'll maybe drop you a link on the bio of us, but it's calendario C.
Everyone listening, you can find the link in the episode description for sure.
Perfect. And then from there, I'm also on Twitter. So both platforms I'm pretty active in. Now artists, unfortunately for a lot of people, their shows were canceled here in New York. All of Broadway shut down. A lot of the independent Latino theaters that I work with are also shut down. So I think artists are finding themselves in a moment where they are still wanting to create and to bring a lot of happiness to people, and they might be struggling financially. So I'm trying to, if you have a show, you're putting in a guitar show in your living room, or you're doing anything artistic in any way to bring some happiness to people's life, let me know, and I'm happy to amplify your word and your art. So William Lopera, follow me at El Calendario Arte.
That's a beautiful thing. See, I love this. We're just through this podcast, we're getting the word out now on what you are putting out there to support other people as well. So that's a beautiful thing.
Oh, thank you so much, Grant. Thank you so much.
Yes, thanks for calling in. And I hope you guys, if you want to know more, I hope you'll reach out to William. I hope you'll follow him and that great community. My thanks to William again. Thanks for coming on the Rants.
Oh, thank you, Grant. It is always so lovely to talk to you. You have
same here.
Since the day that I met you, I've just received this super pure light from you. And, I really hope it continues to shine on in many, many ways. So from my heart, from my dreams to yours, I send you just the best vibes.
Oh, my God. Thank you so much. That's beautiful. Thank you.
This has been Grant's Rants. Support the Rants on Patreon at patreon.com/Grant's Rants. Follow Grant on Twitter and Instagram at It's Grant's Rants. Cover art created by Howie Renee. Original theme music by Alexander Arntzen. The Grant Michael Collection.